reserve game, and he was dating a friend of my wife, Barbara, and we met at a restaurant. And so I met him for the first time. I said, hello, I'm David Dein. He said, hello, Bill Kenwright. He said, how did Rixie play? I said, yeah, how do you know that? Follow football. I said, who do you follow? He said, Everton. That was a bonding for 40 years.
And to Bobby?
And Bobby, well, of course, I had the good fortune of being at Wembley in 1966. I must say, one of the happiest moments of my footballing career, seeing Bobby playing for England and winning the World Cup, and then driving from Wembley. I remember a very flashy type Jaguar going to the south of France with the old two Union Jacks out of the windows. And as we're driving through France, I could hear people with the French youngsters shouting, Bobby Charlton, Nobby Style. You know, he was a hero.
And also, I found him a fantastic ambassador. I worked with him on the World Cup bid for 2006 when he was in 1999, and he trashed his way around the world trying to get those votes. It was unbelievable.
He certainly did. Quite apart from being an extraordinarily talented footballer, he was a great human being, modest, humble, had time for everybody.
Indeed, fantastic. Now, just before we go on to Arsenal, I'd like to ask you about what's going on at Manchester United. what you make of it, what you make of Jim Ratcliffe coming in. I mean, without going too in depth with it, when you sold your shares to Alisha Usmanov, 30%, he couldn't even get through the front door at Arsenal to make any decisions or have any impact on the board. Jim Ratcliffe takes 25%, and it seems to me it sounds like he's going to try and run the football.
Well, without being unkind to everybody, it's needed. I mean, Manchester United are not in good shape on the field, off the field, so it does need somebody to shake it up. I mean, even the current owners can't go to the ground. They're not welcome, which is a great shame. Here they own the club and they can't go to they're not welcome in their own house, which is a great pity. So I think, I hope Jim Ratcliffe turns it round for them. They need a lot of work on the field of play. They need a new stadium. Manchester United is one of the biggest, with Real Madrid, probably the biggest club in the world.
There's been a wicket in the cricket. Here's John Norman.
There's been many points to make. I mean, David, we obviously saw with the succession after Sir Alex Ferguson was difficult, very difficult, almost impossible to follow. But have they also missed David Gill, their chief executive, who obviously went at the same time?
Yes, I think David Gill was well respected, and I think they made a good team. And I'm sure Jim Ratcliffe will bring in his own people, and he will shake it up a bit.
When Henry talks about David Gill and we talk about you at Arsenal, a lot of times people will say, oh, if only we had David Gill, oh, if only David Dein was back at Arsenal. But we do have to move on, don't we? I mean, you do have your time and other people have to take the jobs.
Yes, it's painful, it's a transition, and that's progress.
Do you miss that side? I mean,
Oh, yes. On a daily basis. Do I miss being at Arsenal on a daily basis? Particularly, above all, working with Arsene, because it wasn't work. You know, Dave would go in tonight and it would just be an easy transition.
It must be very hard when you looked away. And let's be fair, you sold your shares, you made a few quid, but to walk away from that must have been, I don't know, a huge void in your life.
It was very painful. It was a very difficult period of my life. So we'll look. Sure.
Indeed, we'll get onto that in the last quarter. But with it, England goes as well, I suppose.
Yes, everything fell away. I mean, it was really difficult for me.
Henry?
David, there was always this sort of debate about Arsene and the sort of relationship with the fans before he left. Were you pleased to see the statue and B, to see him returning?
Yes, I was very pleased that he certainly deserved the statue, and
He
did return.
Statue of Liberty on Swansea City, Statue of Liberty Stadium.
He's gone on now. He's now the head of global football development for FIFA, so he will finish his career undoubtedly right at the top of the game where he belongs.
Sorry, go on, David.
I asked him the other day. I said, what do you want your legacy to be? He thought about it, as he does, and he said, I want to see more youngsters, more boys and girls playing football. I want to see better coaches coaching them. And that's what he's doing now. In fact, today he's on a plane to India, and he's going to be delivering his gospel on how to improve coaching and getting more youngsters playing the game.
Can I just ask you, David, about what happened with Arteta the other week when he attacked the refereeing of the game when Newcastle scored, and it was quickly followed by a statement from Arsenal, which presumably has to be sanctioned at quite a high level, backing him and basically backing his attack on referees and officialdom. Were you at Arsenal? I doubt that would have happened, particularly given your role at the FA as well.
Yeah, it wouldn't have happened. I think that, you know, we're in an emotional game. These things do happen. I think it's unfortunate, and live and learn.
Would you have had to take your manager aside after that and said, "Listen, hang on, let's just dial it down a bit"?
Probably.
How would you have done that? Do you call him into the side room and say,
Well,
now see here,
Yeah,
Miguel?
but you know, you don't undermine the manager either. The manager, in the heat of the moment, that's what he did. He just looked. I was at Newcastle that game, and he felt aggrieved that he felt the decision went against him. In the final analysis, I think it was a bit of misdirection. The fact is, in 101 minutes, we'll talk about timekeeping in a minute. There was 3 minutes in the first half added on and 8 minutes in the second. In 101 minutes of football, we only had one shot at goal. So you can't say the team really deserved to win. Having said that, they didn't deserve to lose, and they lost on a controversial incident about VAR. But some decisions are going to go for you, some will go against, and you've got to accept both in life.
But David, who is there at Arsenal at the moment who would actually have that quiet word with Arteta? I mean, Edu's not necessarily the type of that, is he?
I don't know, Henry. I can't answer that question. But you know, it is what it is, and there is a process in place and how they deal with these things. And I just think it was a little bit unnecessary. I don't think it did the image of the club any good.
Just moving on, I know you're keen to talk football, David. What do you make of Arsenal under Arteta? They've had some difficult times. They appear to be moving back to the era when you were in charge, possibly challenges for the title, and you're still a big fan.
Oh yes, I go virtually to every home game, and I choose the away games that I go to as well. I think under Mikel they're doing a good job. I think there is a freshness there. You can see there's new belief. Certainly the crowd have got it. There is a definite buzz about the place now that we haven't seen for several years. And the four-letter word, hope. And you can see the team have got something good going for them. I think there's something positive. There's a bit of a renaissance going on at the moment at Arsenal.
David, the club are concerned about the kicking that Bukayo Saka seems to get. He seems to accept it and get on with it, but do you think he gets a little bit targeted? There was almost a sort of rotation kicking against him the other night.
Yes, I think you're probably right, Henry. I think he's an extraordinary talent, and I think Arsenal are the best at the moment with Martinelli. Name the names particularly, but I have to, because I think in Saka, Martinelli and Odegaard, they've got three world-class players. Saliba's doing a fantastic job at the back. You know, they've got a nucleus of a very, very good team there.
What would the discussions be like in the boardroom when Arteta came to you and said, well, I need £5 million, please, we're going to go and sign Declan Rice? Would it have been, I mean, you famously, pretty much, if Arsenal wanted to play, you'd try and facilitate it at all times. Would there have been much discussion about paying that sort of money?
Well, it depends how much money is available, firstly. Certainly, they've improved the team by putting Declan Rice in. He is a great player, and you can see, I think he's added to the midfield. I think he is exciting. He's got a lot of talent. And, you know, 105 million, it rolls off the tongue very easily, 105 million, but, you know, there you are. But, yeah, if we had the money, I'd have certainly gone and bought him, yeah.
David, what's Kai Havertz bought?
It's unfair for me to be critical. Yeah. You know, but not every player is going to be a success. You hope for the best. You identify a player. I mean, we were fortunate with Arsene because he didn't make too many mistakes.
But when he would come to you and identify a player and say it didn't work out, would you be, that's in your day, 15 million were just blown? You can't blow it again to rectify that mistake. I mean, would you be nervous about the fact you chilled out on a player who didn't work out? I mean, there's probably some examples from your time where they didn't come off.
Yes, of course. You have to remember, my background was in the commodity business. You had to take a position. You only were successful if you went long or short market, and that's the same in football. You have to take a position. You have to believe. You have to follow your manager. The manager says, "I'd like this player," and you've got to go out and do it for him.
Can you think of an example where you blew a lot of money and you thought, that one didn't work?
Fortunately, I don't think we had too many in my view.
Sorry, I've just been distracted by some breaking news that Kieran Trippier has left the England camp due to personal reasons, and he won't be travelling to North Macedonia, which is going to be a bit of a miss for England. This is Sunday Edition with me.